Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. We make no secret that we are children of the 70s, steeped in the 80s, and emerged into something like adulthood in the 90s. Gen X through and through. Toss in our New England roots, and it's likely, along with the normal nihilistic bent of our latch-key kid compadres, we are also especially opinionated and hold all the requisite regional biases one could imagine. So we're going to float out one of our oh-so-popular show gimmicks, an unpopular opinion. Good God, I inhaled and almost choked to death. Ready or not, here it comes in this episode 252, Bird versus Goat. The 1984-87 Boston Celtics were a better team than the 1995 through 1999 Chicago Bulls. I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, is the man who is risking life, limb, and entry into his favorite Chicagoland eatery simply by engaging in this discussion. He has been my partner in Idiocy for over 2 decades and still sleeps in his Kevin McHale footy pajamas. I give you the man, they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. With all this talk of GOATs, championships, and the greatest, I felt the need to once again stand tall with my championship belts, representing the Fantasy League and my fine achievements in this space.
I'm just waiting for you.
How are
after standing up for like the first 10, 15 minutes of this episode. You're going to get so winded, you're going to sound like Jey Uso. Just trying to look. You're going to do some squats now.
That's right. With the belt, too. There it is.
Oh, that whole like extra 2.5 pounds. Jeez.
15 pounds of gold right here, baby.
That does not weigh 15 pounds.
That's not exactly 15 pounds, but
no,
I'll have to look it up.
It is most definitely not 15 pounds.
10.
I've held it.
10 at least. 10.
I think that's even dubious right there. All right, so let's get into this, shall we, sir? Here is the premise. In spite of only winning 2 championships, the 1984 through 1987 Boston Celtics were a better team than the 1996, actually, I'm going to go backwards here, 1995 through 98 Chicago Bulls, their second three-peat team. So basically, we're talking about all 3 of Larry Bird's MVP seasons, plus the year that they were in a whisper of getting to the promised land for a third time again in the 80s. It was the last gasp of the great Celtics team. And we're going to also go with the year where Jordan made his comeback. So he only played a partial year, and then go with the three-peat season, second three-peat seasons, because I kind of feel like that 1987 year with the injuries that the Celtics had, with Bird's back kind of getting worse, McHale hobbling around on one foot, and I feel like that's a good comparable to a Jordanless Bulls, then getting Jordan back, but then also playing his way back into shape, that sort of thing. I feel like that's kind of a good comp, and then you have really the 3 most solid years for both teams. Would you agree, sir?
I would.
Okay.
And, for full disclosure, even though I live out here, I am very much a student and who has the bona fides as a Boston Celtics fan, ladies and gentlemen. So where possible, I will try to offer an alternative perspective for the Bulls side of things, but it is going to be hard because I am a Celtics fan through and through.
You're a homer through and through for the home team, the Celtics.
I am.
First,
and I do gravitate toward the gold, as you know, sir. So.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So first and foremost, I kind of want to get this out of the way because I know there are going to be. I know this is an unpopular opinion, anyways. However, I want to make this clear. I am not trying to say either that Bulls team was just trash or that Jordan isn't the GOAT.
Sure.
I'm not trying to make a Bird is a better basketball player than Michael Jordan. Like that's not in dispute. Jordan is the GOAT. Period. The end. And both of these teams are all-time great teams. Like the Celtics team was freaking phenomenal, had an amazing home court record. The Bulls equally. I mean, they set a bar for wins in a season that was, took several years to break. It's just a matter of, if you take the teams as a whole, I feel the 80s Celtics are better than the 90s Bulls, or the 95 through 99 Bulls. That is my contention. So I just want to get that out of the way, because if anyone wants to get angry, like, let's get angry about the right thing. Like, if you want to argue that the Bulls had a better team than the Celtics, then fine, we can have that discussion. But I'm not trying to make the point that, oh my gosh, Michael Jordan sucks and the Bulls team sucks, and not even
this
close.
Topic upsets you. It is Uncle Todd who is putting it forth. I am standing here as a bastion of civility and neutrality
and unpreparedness.
Fair enough.
So let's dive into this, and
yes.
kind of the heart of my argument, because Tim will be able to read a little bit from the AI overlords, which he utilized. So apparently some kid in friggin' Utah is not going to be.
We're going to talk about that. It was my preparation. Come on now.
Preparation. Chat GPT, do my homework for me.
Hey,
my contention is based on this. I believe the reason I say this is the Celtics faced a much different league than the Bulls did in their decade. And again, I'm not faulting the Bulls here. You play the games that are on your schedule. And unless we're dealing with I don't know how NCAA runs their scheduling these days, but it used to be that teams could literally schedule in as many schmucks as they want, just pay them a whole bunch of money to get an easy win. That's not how it works. You have the teams on your schedule that you have on your schedule, and you beat the teams that you beat. And if you want to have the argument about strength of schedule and all that, that's fine, but you can't fault the team. They did not write the schedule. This is how it worked. However, I think that you have to look at expansion, because the NBA added 6 teams in 10 years. So they went from the time the Celtics were playing until this point with the Bulls, the league went from 23 to 29 teams in a decade. I mean, that's a lot of roster spots to add. That's a lot of draft picks to add. And not a lot of time for there to be a building of talent for that. Because, I mean, we already know that, it's tough enough picking in the draft, and there's only so many impact players in any given draft anyways. So you take and you add 6 teams in 10 years, it'd be really hard to argue that you're not playing teams that are much weaker. I think also it's also a matter of physicality. While the late 90s were still very physical, especially compared to the NBA of today, where it's hey, we don't care about traveling and any of this stuff, and you can pretty much do whatever you want. And if you breathe on people now, comparatively speaking to what it was in the 70s and 80s, oh my gosh, shoot for 2, shoot for 3 if you'd like. Back in the 80s, this is the time when you had the Celtics and the Lakers going head to head. Literally, what was it? It was Kurt Rambis got clotheslined.
Yeah.
In a game, there was a fight that broke out, a fist fight, not a little shovey thing. Fists were being thrown. People are on the floor. No one was ejected. They pulled them apart. You shoot 2, and we continue the game. Now, that would have been the lead story on SportsCenter for the 3 days. Back then, that's just how you did business. If you look at a lot of the pictures from Larry Bird or any of the stars from that era, if you see them down in the low post, their jerseys are sideways. They're literally just getting grasped and manhandled. By the late 90s, that was definitely not as much the case. The NBA was definitely trying to get it, because I think wasn't it the early to mid 90s when we kind of had, because you had the bad boys and then we had the Knicks that were basically like just grinding the games down into the friggin', I think Bill Simmons once referred to it as the clogged toilet offense, where it's just like just trying to run the game into the friggin' ground and slow it down. I think the NBA was at this point trying to open the game up more, so it's not as brutal as it was.
Yeah.
That has an effect too, like, because if you played by famously, I think it was like Dan Patrick's show or something when they had Reggie Miller on, and Dan, of course, being a homer for Larry Bird, asked him, who would you rather have, Larry Bird at his prime or LeBron James at his prime if you're starting a team? And they took and he's like, okay, well, so what age? And they picked the age, and it was like one of Bird's MVP seasons. And they took like one of LeBron's MVP seasons, and Bird's stats are still kind of like, holy crap. Like his stats outclass like LeBron's MVP season. And then he's like, so what rules are we playing under? Because it's like today's rules, like can't touch anybody. You can shoot all you want. Larry Joe Bird, please. So, I mean, you play under an 80s rules.
Yeah.
I think the Bulls have a tough time here. Like if you're able to do all the shenanigans and play as physical as you were back in the 80s, I think the Bulls are having a really tough time here in a 7-game series. A really tough time.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on it so far? Am I off base? Am I on base?
No.
Am I sniffing distance
agree.
of the base? Okay.
I agree. By the way, I just want to interject something for a moment, because before we started the show, I was complaining about the lack of product on shopwwe.com for title belts. You, sir,
I love how you're so obsessed with these friggin' belts, man.
You, sir, for $2,000
can
own the Crown Jewel Men's Championship title belt.
Is it title belt now?
Armor,
it's a crown.
The shield.
It's
It's not a crown. It's a massive belt that covers your entire torso.
Okay, wait. So for $2,000,
yes,
if Jey Uso wins, if I buy all of the accoutrements, do I get to like hit him with them? Do I get like one shot?
I don't know. Maybe.
Because the thing is, I think I could probably run away from him afterwards. Like, I think I could outrun him. I mean, he seems like
probably could, because your cardio is better than his. So,
I mean, as long as Jimmy's not helping him out, I'm like pushing him or something. I think I kind of like my chances there. $2,000. Good God!
I know. I saw that, and the world heavyweight title is back, the current one, but it's normal price. I'm going to wait till that sucker goes sub 400, and then I'm going to have the final piece to my collection, for which I can then attach my CM Punk side plates to.
If you're looking to complete the set, then you have to get the undisputed WWE Championship. You have to get the gigantic, the W's belt, like the big red W belt.
No, I don't.
Then it's not complete.
Well,
it's not complete.
You need to drink Lords. So, anyways.
Okay, let's just go with something out of left field that has nothing to do with anything, but sure. Whatever makes you feel good, sir.
Yeah. So
whatever gets you through the night.
Getting back to your premises, your theses, if you will. What? I said theses.
Oh, okay. You got to pronunciate. You got to enunciate a little bit more, sir. You got to coordinate.
Coordinate. But yes, I agree that the league that the 80s Celtics were in was definitely a different one from what the 90s Bulls were dealing with. It's not to say that they, and again, you kind of said this up front. This is not to take any shine off of them. This is just simply to say it was a different environment.
Yeah.
It was a bit rougher.
No, I don't think it's like night and day. Like if you took 80s to today.
Yeah.
But it was different enough,
It was. And so I would agree with that. I think there was, and there was also an element of, just not only the toughness, but the way, basketball was being played, and the fact that they were, the Bulls have the triangle offense and what they run, but the Celtics were very much running. I'm trying to see. I have 1 second. they're like, I agree that their ball movement, for example, like everything flowed through Bird, and it was really built around Bird's passing ability, which Bird was just insane on the passing front. And the Bulls were not built that way. They were they were built on the triangle offense, and Jordan isolating himself, and being able to just hit his shots and show his brilliance in the game. And so I think that overall, like when we talk about greatest teams, while in some ways the Bulls, yes, the Bulls had 2 3-peats, no doubt. They also had the greatest player in the game, the GOAT. But they also played during a time when to your point, with the expansion that happened, what was the league potentially diluted a little bit, maybe. We were also getting into a place where a lot of college players in the 90s were starting to go into the league, I believe.
When was Kevin? Because Kevin Garnett was the first guy to jump right from high school, wasn't he?
I thought he was 95. I could be wrong.
Rookie season. You are correct, sir. 95, 96. Drafted directly out of school.
Don't doubt
First
me, baby.
player. Oh wait,
what about Kobe?
Player. No, he's the first player in 20 years. So someone did before.
What about Kobe?
Kobe's rookie season is like late 90s.
98.
And wrong. 96, 97.
Close enough.
Sure, whatever.
I'm just saying.
If I had missed that, you would have been like, "You're wrong." And you're just like,
exactly.
You must be fun to play golf with. Like every one of yours, like that's close enough, isn't it? You're 8 feet away. Yeah, that's close. It's happy.
Yeah, close enough. We're gonna count it.
Me, I'm like 3/4 of an inch away. It's like, no, you got to hit that. I'm like, oh, okay.
And the thing that makes that so funny is, yes, that's exactly what I would have done.
Yes. See, after 20 some odd years, actually, no. Where are we on here? Like 90. We are rapidly approaching 30 years, sir.
30 years of
knowing each other here.
Oh, sweet Moses.
I know. It's frightening all the way around, really.
Yes, it is.
All right, but anyways.
But so continuing on your point of them being, kind of 2 teams in slightly different eras, slightly different environment, and built in a different way. And I said this, that the Bulls, like you said, are really built around a player. While the Celtics are, built, while they were built around Bird's passing, it was also that, the offense they put on was, kind of a free-flowing, smooth sort of approach where they would just move the ball around. And McHale and Parrish were just, not that they were impossible to defend, but, it's one of those situations, if the right one don't get you, the left one will, sort of thing,
Yeah.
You double up on Parrish and prevent him from shooting, then they get it to McHale, and McHale burns you. I mean, McHale was just such is a solid hand to use JR's terminology. He just was consistent, good, both on offense and defense. And, you just had the 5 of them playing. DJ, Danny Ainge, Bird, McHale, Parrish were just a difficult squad to be able to defend against. They were so good. In my research that I did, the lineup of those 5, and I would agree with this statement, has virtually no weakness. And I would agree. It's not that they couldn't have a bad game. It's not that they couldn't be beaten, but they were damn difficult to like, they made you earn the win if you beat them.
Yes.
That it was not an easy day in the office beating the Boston Celtics with those 5. And in particular, like I said, McHale, again, my research that I came up with, McHale in particular creates a matchup nightmare that the Bulls would not really have an answer for. And I think that's true. I mean, even with Horace Grant, who did they have? So Horace Grant. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is not. No, it's Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, Kerr, and Kukoc.
Yeah.
So Rodman.
Well, so I went with the I went with the 95-96 Bulls, which were the ones that set the record. So the two rosters I had at peak.
Yeah.
You've got the roster that you had named. You have Dennis Johnson, Danny Ainge, Kevin McHale, Larry Bird in his MVP season, and Robert Parrish as your starting five.
Okay.
6-man off the bench is Bill Walton. Not a bad.
Now you'll see here. Oh, I'm sorry. That's an awful Bill Walton, but you know.
And then after that, we get into kind of the dregs. I mean, there's no Hall of Famers here, but
hey, was ML Carr on that list? ML Carr, baby.
ML was. I think he was done in 85 or 84.
Well, there he is. It was right in the middle of their run, right in the middle of that whole thing.
He was not on the roster this year. Reserves are after Bill Walton. You got Scott Wedman, Jerry Sitching, David Thirdkill, Sam Vincent, Sly Williams, Rick Carlisle, and Greg Kite. So,
can we go back to one of those names?
Some guys.
Was it Jerry Seasting? I think was his name.
Seasting or Sitching? I don't.
Sichting.
Yes.
Listening to Tommy Heinsohn on the call, or Bob Cousy on the call on the radio. I always loved the way they would pronounce. I don't remember exactly how they said it, but it was like Seasting with the ball, passes it to Bird.
So keep in mind here, not counting head coach, you have all 5 starters are Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Walton is also a Hall of Famer, although not a Hall of Famer based on solely his work in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
6 Hall of Famers on that roster. They had a 67-15 record. Their home record that year was 40-1. That was Bird's 3rd consecutive league MVP season.
Did Brock Lesnar put the 1 in 40-1? I just want to know.
No, I don't think Brock was around then.
So he was a mini beast at that time.
I don't think Brock was but a gleam in anyone's eye at that point.
Okay.
So 95-96 Chicago Bulls, we've got Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and Luke Longley. I don't know why I have Casey Jones there. It's obviously Phil Jackson was their coach.
Just trying to spread the Boston bias through and through.
That's the old cut and paste. They'll get you. Reserves on that team, we have Randy Brown, Judd Buchler, Jason Caffey, James Edwards, Jack Haley, Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, John Sally, Dickie Simpkins, and Bill Wennington. They had a record of 72-10. Their home record 39-2. So very, very close to the dominance of the Celtics at home.
Very nice.
And I don't know, again, like cut and paste got me. That's I believe this was an MVP season for Jordan. However, if you look at the starting lineup, 3 out of the 5 Hall of Famers being Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. Kukoc coming off the bench is also a Hall of Famer, which I don't know why I never thought of him as a Hall of Famer, but then again,
Kukoc, he was solid. He was solid.
I know he was solid. It was just I never, because I guess I never followed his career because he plays for the Bulls. So you have 4 Hall of Famers as opposed to 6.
I would say he's almost like their version of McHale in some ways. He was kind of that lanky guy who I think he played power forward too, which was similar to McHale. So
yeah. Although the weird thing is, like when you look at the starting positions, so for when they were doing at least when I looked on Wikipedia, you look at the Celtics lineup, and then also I have the All-Star teams at the peak. They actually have like point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward. When you get into the 90s, when I was looking at the 90s Bulls and also the 96 All-Star team, there was no shooting guard, point guard, it's just guard. So, I mean, we also kind of get into that where I think the actual positions were getting a little bit more murky, you know?
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, it's amazing when you look at some of these rosters, you know? So the other thing I want to mention here, I feel like one of the other determining factors of me thinking this is I think the Celtics faced down some stiffer competition in the finals. One, because of, again, the rosters are not as diluted because of expansion. You're also going up against Magic Johnson's Lakers, who, they won 4 championships, or did they win 5? 4? During the 80s? I think they won 4 during the 80s.
I don't want to give them that. I want to say 3.
No, they definitely they won more than the Lakers. They won more than the Celtics.
Boo.
But I mean, you're going up against
Boo.
another one of like those teams. It's like another one of those great teams, and it's not just like in one finals. Like they played the Lakers 3 out of 4 times in the finals, and then the other time they played kind of a Houston Rockets team that were on kind of the downslide.
Yep.
But I mean, still, like they had to go face to face with the Lakers 3 times out of 4 in those finals. That's kind of insane when you think about that. Because I don't. Can we? Do you offhand know who the Bulls played in those three-peat seasons?
Let me see. Let me figure it out.
Because one of them was Utah, right? Because that was flu game. Let me see if I got another point.
I'm looking it up. So
I know, but I'm gonna. And then
okay,
I think
so 91 to 93, the first three-peat, it was the Lakers, the Trailblazers, and the Suns.
Okay.
And they won that 4-1, 4-2, 4-2, respectively. And then the second three-peat was in 96, the Supersonics, where they won 4-2, the Utah Jazz, where they won 4-2, and then the Utah Jazz again in 98, that they won four games to 2.
Now, I mean, I'm not trying to throw shade on any of those teams, but are any of the Utah Jazz, has anybody mentioned them as an all-time great team? Like you have Malone and Stockton.
Probably one of the great 1-2 punches.
I mean, granted, yeah, in the overall breadth of their career, but I mean, in terms of like a team, like nobody goes back and is like, oh, those Jazz teams, they were a force to be. No, like you look at the stiffer competition, it's like, man, those are like wars that went on there, you know. And I think overall we're both kind of unified on this point that Chicago's team relied on the greatness of Michael Jordan much more than the Celtics relied on any single player, which is terrific for Jordan's legacy, but it doesn't mean that 5-on-5 they were necessarily the better team. So I kind of wanted, I think this is interesting here because, again, like the stiffer competition thing, I think shows up here. So I thought this was interesting going back to the 86 and the 96 All-Star games. So starting 5, let's go with the rosters for the East. We got Isaiah Thomas, MVP of the game, Michael Jordan, who did not play because of an injury, Julius Erving at forward, Larry Bird at forward, Moses Malone at center. Head coach was Casey Jones. Reserves for the East were Buck Williams, Kevin McHale, Dominique Wilkins, Mo Cheeks, Patrick Ewing, Jeff Malone, Robert Parrish, and Sidney Moncrief. That's a team right there. For the West in 86, you have Magic Johnson and Alvin Robinson at the guards. For forwards, we have James Worthy and Ralph Sampson, and at center, you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So that 86,
3 out of the 5 are from the Lakers.
Yes. Head coach Pat Riley. Reserves, Rolando Blackman, Adrian Dantley, Alex English, Clyde Drexler, Hakeem Olajuwon at that time, Artis Gilmore, and Marcus Johnson. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 20 Hall of Famers in that All-Star game, not including coaches. Kind of badass. We go to the 96 All-Star team. In the East, starting at the guards, we have Penny Hardaway and Michael Jordan, who was the MVP of the game. Apparently, that was not a popular decision. I guess fans were not happy. I read in the notes for Wikipedia, which is like, okay.
Which game?
For the 96 All-Star game. People were not apparently all that excited about Jordan being the MVP. Scottie Pippen and Grant Hill are your forwards. Shaquille O'Neal is the center. Head coach Phil Jackson. Your reserves are Vin Baker, Terrell Brandon, Patrick Ewing, Juwan Howard, which again is interesting. Patrick Ewing kind of tying over here. It's like, dear God, how long did this dude play? Juwan Howard, Reggie Miller, Alonzo Mourning, and Glenn Rice. For the West, your starting guards are Jason Kidd, Clyde Drexler. Forwards are Charles Barkley and Sean Kemp. At center, another holdover, Hakeem, now Olajuwon. Head coach George Karl, and your reserves are Sean Elliott, Karl Malone, Dikembe Mutombo, who want to sex Mutombo, Gary Payton, Mitch Richmond, David Robinson, and John Stockton. Interestingly enough, 17 Hall of Famers, not including coaches, for this All-Star game. But I think that's kind of significant. Like 3 Hall of Famers difference is a fairly sizable difference when you really get down to it. Surprising here to me was Mitch Richmond is a Hall of Famer. I didn't see that one coming. But yeah, and actually Sean Kemp is not a Hall of Famer. That was kind of
Really?
to me. Yeah.
I did not know that.
So I think there's just through the lens of the All-Star game, like you can look at like what the makeup of the league was in those times. And now imagine like, yeah, 17 Hall of Famers. Oh, that's great. And now they're spread out over 6 more teams though. As opposed to 20, and these are all compacted. This is the creme de la creme out of 23 teams. I think that's significant in that you're going to get a couple extra wins, no doubt, because of there's just some bad teams. The bad teams might not be that much worse, but there's a few more of them, I would imagine, you know? And then even more so like those middling teams, like it's not going to take much for them to hit the tipping point of like, okay, and we're way over our heads. I think the other part of this is that you hit a point where, you know, those teams just don't have the leadership. They don't have the depth, and that's going to hurt you in the long term and allow you to, you know, once you get into the playoffs, even though you're the best of the best, like, again, some of those teams are just not going to be as deep and good as they were in the 80s.
Yeah.
Not to mention just not having like a signature other superpower team in the league that you have to, you know, you're going to have to contend with at some point, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting. What do you think of that? Is that interesting, or is that kind of...
What I find interesting is, quite honestly, I expected the positions. You know, you mentioned the power guard, the point guard, shooting guard, small forward for the 80s All-Star team, and then the 90s they listed as guard, forward.
Yeah,
I would have thought that would have been flipped around, because for me at least, I wasn't introduced to those terms until I started playing like NBA Live on the Genesis in the 90s. And they started making that distinction between, rather than it being guard, it was point guard, shooting guard.
Yeah.
So I find that kind of interesting. But overall, yeah, I mean, it is quite a telling, you know, the 86 All-Star team being this who's who of the league, and you know, with a lot of not just Hall of Famers but like all-time greats on there.
Yes, there's a lot of cats from that squad that made like the NBA 50 and 75 teams.
Oh yeah,
where it's like the elite, or as
so,
Bill Simmons would say, the pantheon.
Yeah, the talent pool was just insane. And it's not to say the 96 one wasn't either, but you know, I just you know, I don't think between, you know, reserves and starters that you have the same depth. It just doesn't, you know, like the starters, yeah, great, but like you pointed out, Sean Kemp is, you know, not an all-star, not a all-time great. I mean, great player, but didn't make it to that point. Whereas, you know, in the 80s, I mean, I guess on the flip side, on the West for 86, Alvin Robertson is kind of like who? But
oddly enough, the bench for the West in 96 stacked.
Yeah,
everyone on the bench was an all-star except for Sean Elliott.
Yep,
which is kind of kooky, you know.
It is.
Of course, I mean, a lot of those guys were definitely heading on the you know, some of them were on the outside, you know, track of their career, but still,
I do feel like, you know, and I don't know if this is again the byproduct of the decades and the way the league changed, but I do feel like, or if this is just my bias growing up, you know, as a kid and watching basketball and thinking basketball is this way. Maybe it wasn't, but I feel like in the 80s, you know, especially not just the way the Celtics were built and the way they played, but it felt like all teams were a team. You know, like it didn't feel like the emphasis was on a star player as much. Now, Bird, of course, and Magic Johnson, you know, were kind of the start of that, and you know, Dr. J. Julius Erving, Moses Malone, you know, you had the sports media starting to prop up, you know, some of these guys for the great play, and starting to play up the superstar nature of, you know, who they were in the league. But I also feel like, you know, and again, I don't know if this is why the all-star teams differ the way they do, is, you just see, we look at this lineup and we see a bunch of great players, and a lot of Hall of Famers, but these are all guys that came from teams where, yes, they were probably some of the more talented guys on the team, but the team still acted as a unit, like the Pistons, with Isaiah Thomas as probably the star, if you want to, frame him that way. But I mean, Lambeer, I'm trying to think who else. Rodman, who was on that team at the time. Yep. Was John Sally on that team? I think John Sally might have been.
He was, yes. And then
but the Pistons, like I just remember when these teams would face off, it was the unit against the unit. It wasn't like Jordan versus Barkley, you know what I mean, or Jordan versus the world or whatever. It was, there were certainly matchups, and especially when we got the Celtics and Lakers, it was Bird, it was Bird and Magic. Mm-hmm. It was Parrish and Jabbar, and you just had some of those pairings that just kind of came together because of the rivalry, but they were still the unit mm-hmm. that would play. And then we get into the 90s, and now you have an emphasis on individualism, on individual superstars, guys getting these monster contracts. One of the things that to this day pisses me off about the Bulls is seeing Rodman attached to it, because Rodman, and again, this is just me as a basketball fan, mm-hmm. Great rebounder, but really doesn't do much else outside of that. And he hitches his wagon to a team where he has the greatest player of all time, wins all these championships because he's on that team. Mm-hmm. And yes, you can make the statement that he contributed to some degree, but I just feel there was probably someone else who could have been plugged in there that may have been more deserving of that. You know what I mean? I base some of this on how he promoted himself, on the way he conducted himself. He was, to me, I just, and again, I'm not saying this as a 50-year-old, male now. I mean, this was back when I was in college and high school. Mm-hmm. I just didn't like the guy because he acted like a clown. And you had guys who put in the time, who worked hard, who were trying to play the game for what it was. And you have him being the party animal over here, acting like an idiot. And yet, here he is getting all the laurels. And I'm like, yeah, because you've hitched your wagon to a great team. It's not because of you, it's because of who you're with. And you know what I mean? Like, I just have a problem with that. And I think it goes back to the fact that when I grew up in the 80s with basketball, when I played in school leagues or whatever, team sport. When I watched the Celtics, team sport. I like the idea of it being a unit and not it being one person over another. And so that's just me. That's what I like. That's what I took away from it. And so I just, that always bothered me with Rodman, because I feel like it's one of those cases of a bad apple getting rewarded,
So I actually have a bit of a soft spot for Rodman as a basketball player, because
as an agent of chaos.
Well, in a way, yes. Yeah, because
I know I meant it both funny and seriously, because
but I think there is something to be said for a degree of specialization in sports, because not everybody is going to be, not everyone's going to be Jordan, and Jordan could do whatever the hell Jordan wanted to do. Not everyone's going to be like Larry Bird, who decides and announces to the press that he's going to play the last game of the road trip left-handed. Mm-hmm. Because he's saving his right for the Lakers, and then go out and friggin' do it and score like something like 20 some odd points left-handed. Yeah. Not everyone's going to be like Wilt Chamberlain back in the day, where someone was saying he didn't pass enough, and then he went out and led the league in assists one year. As Wilt Chamberlain, as a center, a dominant physical in scoring force, he decided that he was going to prove people wrong and pass more, and he led the league in assists. Like, who the hell, like, there's not everyone's gonna be able to do those things.
Yeah.
So I have a soft spot for someone who's like, this is what I can do. I can go in and I can be the best at this one thing. And it's not that that was the only thing he was good at. He was also a really good defender. Mm-hmm. But he knew, like, I only got but like 2 tricks in my bag. Mm-hmm. And much like professional wrestling, which is one of the things that kind of surprises me here, is almost like, I would think that you would appreciate a little bit of this, because with Rodman, like, it's like, okay, well, what else can I do? I can get under their skin. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm gonna get this person pissed. I'm going to do all those intangible things, and I'm going to create chaos and all that, because now, like, if I've, I can do that because it's okay. I'm not scoring. Like, I don't care about scoring. That's not my thing. I'm here to rebound, defend, and just get under everyone's skin.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. I don't think that the Bulls win, though. I don't think the Bulls are nearly the team they are without Rodman, because I think that he was a lightning rod to like draw like so much of the attention that then the rest of the team could just kind of go along around him, and causing that chaos. He could do that. As far as all the partying stuff, like, oh yeah, totally. Like he was a party animal, and he's, obviously a bit of a wackadoodle Looney Tune. However, as far as like the partying and stuff, like that was everybody. Like Jordan was infamous for going out and drinking all night and playing cards and then playing like 36 holes of golf the day of a friggin' playoff game. And then he'd go out and drop like 38 points or something, and there's a story I posted on our Instagram today about Bird. Apparently back in 81, the Boston, and oddly enough, the Chicago Bulls cheerleaders spotted him out drinking with Rick Roby and bought him beer all night long, just trying to get him drunk. And he showed up the next day and scored like 30 points and then just walked by the cheerleaders like, thanks for the beer. Like, just some of these folks are built different, man. And I kind of appreciate that about Rodman maximizing the abilities that he had. Because that's a guy who probably didn't belong in the NBA if you're looking at it from like a 5-tool perspective or whatever.
Now, I will admit I am not speaking from a place of full evidence and data.
Mm-hmm.
But and I hear you. Yes,
you're speaking from your spleen, sir, and I appreciate
that was the culture of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I have read books about Bird, and I have read books about Jordan, and there is a work ethic there. So yes, they go do that stuff. That's fine. I don't ever really read about a work ethic with Rodman, and so that's where my issue comes from. Is it's something similar to what we've talked about with professional wrestling as well. You have guys that bust their ass perfecting their craft, but because they're deficient in a charisma area, in promos, in something else, they either don't ever get to break into the main roster of like a WWE, or they're relegated to being, essentially enhancement talent for other superstars. And then you have the guy who shows up who, yes, is a great rebounder, probably is a great defensive player because he just wants to be a pain in the ass, which is kind of his MO. And you're right.
Part of being a great defender.
He's a provocateur of sorts.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice scrabble
but
word.
Doesn't put the time or the effort in. Now, again, I could be wrong. Maybe he has put the time and the effort in, but I don't get the sense that was how he worked.
I think he put the time
so
and the effort
that's
in
the problem I have.
In different ways. I mean, I don't think that you can become the rebounder that he is or that he was, because there was stories of him studying his teammates when they're going and they're shooting. They're doing their shoot around. He's watching. And he's watching how the ball spins for each player and how the ball comes off the rim, how it comes off the backboard when they would miss, so that he would know someone shoots. He's like, I can guess. He would be able to make an educated guess about where the ball is going to wind up because he knows the players on his team. And I'm imagining he's also applying that to a lesser degree with people that he on other teams, like getting to know them. And the fact that like physically being able to hang through an NBA season, rebounding is about the most physical thing you can do aside from defending. And he's doing two out of the most physically demanding things on the court. You can't tell me this dude isn't in shape. I think it's just a matter of like, the fact that like he was in shape enough that he didn't have to necessarily do it, because we all know there's people who are just physical freaks that can function in ways that other people can't. I mean, Ric Flair, for instance. Anyone else who tried to live the life that Ric Flair lived, anyone who tried to live half the life that Ric Flair lives, would be dead inside a year. You couldn't handle it. The man is just a physically freak that he's still alive. I think that you can make a similar case with someone like Rodman, where I think it would be impossible for him to make it to where he was without work. Now, I mean, there's always been cases too, because people used to get pissed off because Bill Russell, he would never dunk during warm-ups. And people would think, oh, he's lazy. And he's like, it's a wasted effort. Why am I going to dunk in a warm-up? I've got to go out there and I got to go play against Wilt Chamberlain. I got to go play against this guy. I'm going to dunk in a warm-up line? No, I'm going to do it my way.
Yeah.
So there's always been guys who might not necessarily fit the mold, that you just have, and maybe it's because also, I mean, we know that how hard Bird worked because he kind of had to, because can't run, can't jump. I mean, he could run and jump enough. I mean, he wasn't a deer by any stretch of the imagination, but he maximized.
Yeah.
I think Rodman probably maximized in a different way. That's all.
I see your point. And actually I understand what you mean by, focusing in on one thing, because again, not that I play a lot of basketball at this stage of my life, but
if you play any, I'd have admiration for you, sir. I can't.
I did up through, I think, my 30s, and then both time and folks
Cartilage.
that I could go, well, maybe that too, kind of came into play. But I will say, one of the big regrets I have is I wish as a kid or even as a teenager growing up playing basketball, whether it was with rec or with friends or whatever, because I never played high school or middle school. I just played on kind of our rec team in Dover. And but I wish I had the mindset I had as an adult playing basketball when I played as a kid, because what I came to find out and enjoy quite a bit as an adult, playing with colleagues, whether it be an early morning game or otherwise, is I really started to enjoy just, kind of looking at the court and basically just making like very crisp, very strategically oriented passes. Like I started to be able to read the court in a way, and I wasn't so concerned about being the guy that scored. That was my whole thing as a kid. I had to be the guy who scored because that's what Larry Bird did. That's what I was trying to emulate, and be like Bird, make the baskets. I would go out in the driveway. I would shoot free throws, 3-pointers. I would just sit there and shoot because that's what I read about him. That's what he did. The stories of him, like, dribbling the ball incessantly, or I forget if it was him or Pete Maravich, but one of the two would be bouncing a basketball as his mom was driving through town or something like that.
I think that was Bird. Like they would drive the car so that he would dribble along and keep control of the ball at like 10 miles an hour or something like that.
Yeah. But doing those insane things. And so, I get your point where, you hone in on one thing and you're not the guy who scores, but you make your mark in other ways. But I hear you. I'm just not a fan of his work. And just in
enough.
that time period, I just felt here's a guy who, gets all these accolades, but I don't know. I just feel I don't want to say he didn't earn it, but I just feel like,
you don't like the cut of his jib.
He was a clown who just hitched his wagon to this roller coaster ride that was Jordan and the Bulls. So.
And you know what? If he's one of the smartest clowns that ever lived.
Don't say that. I don't know. I don't give him any accolades. Stop it.
Sorry, the dude's got.
On this show, I cannot support accolades for this man.
Okay, fine. All right. Well, we didn't mean to turn this into a Rodman conversation. Oddly enough. So yes, you have your binky. My gosh, it's your safe place. So if we just take like 96, 86, and look at these, I mean, friggin' Parrish, Bird, McHale. What's the answer for that? I mean, widely regarded as the greatest front court in
Excedrin.
I mean, you're telling
Excedrin and Advil. That's all you can do.
I mean, granted, Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman up against McHale. Okay, I could see some problems there. Pippen against Bird. Okay. I mean, Longley versus Parrish.
I take issue with Pippen and Bird.
I mean, I'm not saying
Bird has Pippen's for breakfast.
I'm not saying I'm not saying it wouldn't be an advantage. I'm just saying, like, I don't think it would be like oh, there's no way in hell. Not the same way of like, okay, who's going to guard Michael Jordan, Danny or Dennis? Either way, you're just like, this is going to suck. It's and that's the thing. Like I say that, for the front court, the Bulls would have no answer. Not a solid answer that you could rely on. The Celtics have no answer for Jordan because no one ever had an answer for Jordan until Father Time caught up with him. The only answer for Jordan was if you don't piss him off and he's having an off night, or played too much golf or whatever. And that's the only answer for Michael Jordan. There was never one.
I think
that's
you put
why
Bird
he's the
on him.
GOAT.
I think you put Bird on Jordan.
Oh dear God, come on.
You do.
For what reason? Just to show just how slow Bird is?
No, well, make him drive to the basket, and then he's got to contend with Parrish and McHale in the down low.
Dude, no. That's not going to dude. I am one of the biggest Larry Bird supporters. I am that guy on Instagram where my suggested reels are like fitness videos, cat videos, and Larry Bird trash talk videos,
and the occasional Malorts,
which you're screwing my algorithm, which I'm not happy about. But as much as I love me some Larry Bird, ain't no way Larry's guarding Michael Jordan one-on-one.
No.
Like for one play, maybe he gets the better of him. After that, Jordan is going to just not only eat his lunch, but everybody's lunch in the front row.
I think it could work.
Peak Michael. Oh my gosh, you are absolutely out of your gourd. Hang on a second. I gotta call here.
Many months later.
Trying to be respectable here.
Well, it's a little late for that, don't you think?
I don't think so.
Do you have any idea where we left off?
So we were talking about, I made the statement that Bird could defend Jordan. You were talking about who would cover who between the two teams. So this is what I looked up. So if we can start there, I can talk about,
Okay,
so
now, let me we are now back, and before this, Tim was not drinking. So when he actually uttered the phrase that Bird could guard Jordan one-on-one, he was stone sober, ladies and gentlemen.
So this is what came up.
I do not know if there's like a gas leak that would explain some of his lightheadedness or any of this. He is seated now as opposed to standing.
Well,
so
I've consulted with my AI overlords, and
dear God, what did they have to say?
The answer is no. Larry Bird, at age 29, which is what he was in '86, could not consistently defend a 33-year-old Michael Jordan in a one-on-one matchup. While Bird was an incredibly smart team defender with great size, he lacked the lateral quickness and elite speed required to stay in front of Jordan in his athletic prime. Okay, fine. So then I looked up and I said, could anyone from the '86 Celtics defend 96 Michael Jordan? And he came back and said no one in NBA history could completely lock down 96 Jordan. But
yes,
the '86 Celtics had the perfect personnel, led by elite perimeter defender Dennis Johnson and backed by a legendary front court. And this was my point I was trying to make when I said Bird, but hear me out.
No, you said Bird one-on-one, sir.
And then I talked about
back away from this.
No, I'm not backing away. Jordan would bust around him, and he'd run into McHale and Parrish, and that's the point here.
That is totally not the same as defending one-on-one, sir.
I said that. You chose to not hear it. So I'm just for the record, I said it. So here's what it says. The '86 Celtics deployed multiple players who could handle the assignment depending on the defensive scheme. Dennis Johnson, primary defender for Jordan. 3-time all-defensive first-team selection. DJ had the size, strength, and IQ to disrupt guards. He was a master at physical half-court defense who limited Jordan in their playoff matchups. Then we have Danny Ainge, the starting shooting guard for Boston. While not an elite lockdown defender, Ainge was scrappy, pesky. All of this is right on the money, by the way, for Ainge. He was scrappy. He was a pain in the rear end.
Even to the people on his team in some ways.
And I was a fan of the team, and I'll even tell you, he had the most punchable face on that team.
You know who he was? He was oh my gosh, who's the guy in the Bruins?
Ray Bork?
No, the guy with the nose. Who's
Cam Neely?
No, they just he just left the team not that long ago. But he was always like everyone else hated him. He was such a annoying. Hang on a second. Boston Bruins. Let's go with nose. Brad Marchand. Yes.
Okay.
The guy that everyone else just hated, and I imagine even his teammates got every so often like, "Would you just calm f down? You're making more trouble for us than it's worth." Yep. But he's that sort of guy. Like you're glad he's on your team.
Yes.
Even though he might annoy you, he's annoying everyone else 20 times as much. Which I imagine, in a way, it kind of brings us back to Jordan. I mean, Rodman, where it's like, I'd rather he's on my team than having to play against him. So I guess that's 1 point in his favor.
Yeah,
but that's totally different. Like, yes, team.
Hold
defense,
on,
that's the only way you're going to do it.
Oh, and I wasn't done.
Okay. Yep.
Highly disruptive off the ball, forcing Jordan to work hard for his touches, and then the defensive scheme. Boston's greatest weapon against Jordan was their ability to switch without suffering in the paint. With McHale and Parrish anchoring the interior, any blow-bys from Jordan were immediately met by elite rim protectors.
Now
there's a phrase: elite rim protectors.
I'm pretty sure that was one of those movies that was back behind the curtains.
That's a lady.
She's a lady. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, good God.
So now keep in mind, though, when you're doing a direct one-on-one comparison, this is like early career Michael Jordan when they would have to, because we do have overlap of this 86, 87 era with Michael Jordan. This was a young Michael Jordan.
The prompt was 86 Celtics who could defend 96 Michael Jordan. That's the comparison.
I get it. But you're talking about, when you're talking about a direct comparison of how they did defend against him, it's a younger Jordan, whereas opposed to like 33 Jordan might not be as physically gifted or as athletic as he was obviously in his 20s, because nobody is. But I mean, hold on. I just want to finish the point. Like it's the intelligence and wiliness, which was always one of Bird's biggest strengths, where he could make up for some of the lack of physical, talent, because that was always, again, when he came into the league, can't run, can't jump. It didn't matter, because he could use his wiliness, his knowledge of the game, his vision of the court, all of that to output. So that's why, like, in a team setting, okay, if you rotated Bird onto Jordan, he could cause issues, because there was always, you're not counting on him one-on-one. You said one-on-one, though, sir.
I did not say one. We were talking about the team and who would take on who, who would guard.
You said you were going to put Bird on Jordan.
Yes. Bird on Jordan in a team setting.
Okay,
I'm just saying.
It still doesn't make any sense, but okay.
I'm just saying.
I know you're just saying, and I'm saying that even before you were drinking, you were drunk, and you should go home.
I think I am.
It's a replay of Wednesday, for crying out loud. We're right back here where we started from.
I think I'm home.
Well, have a couple more, and maybe you'll remember where you're at.
Maybe I'm home.
You'll go around the continuum.
I got the 2 title belts, so I must be home. So.
Oh, okay, good. Yes, and that is the thing. Like, that is the X factor, and that is why you can't, like, I can say I think the 86 Celtics are a better team than the 96 Bulls, but ultimately it is really tough to say that because of Jordan, because there is always that aspect of, like, even in a 7-game series, one player in the NBA can take over a series. So it's one of those deals where you can never count them out, which is always one of the things you said about Bird as well. Like, you could never completely count him out, because he was stubborn and ornery and would rather, like, drag himself over broken glass for a quarter mile rather than lose. Like, those were guys that kind of was, we go back to, you bring Moneyball into this, when Billy Beane says, I hate losing. I hate losing more than I love winning. That sort of thing. That's both of these guys, and it's the reason why it's like, I forget what Pat Riley said. If it's like one game for my life, I take Jordan. If it's one shot for my life, I'm taking Bird, and it's that kind of thing where you're dealing with two players who are extraordinary, just one happens to be a dominant force more so than the other. But
yeah, but and I think, one point that was made when we were talking about this just now was the fact that the interchangeable nature of their defense. And I think that is one of the things that makes the 86 or the 84 to 87 Celtics a better team.
yes,
Is that they had that interchangeable nature with McHale and Parrish down low. Whereas you cannot say the same for the Bulls. Their cast changes. It's Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman through most of it. But as you talked about, Luke Longley, Ron Harper, but then that changes at some point, and you get Tony Kukoc, and you get who did I say? Kukoc and where did it go? Sorry. Let's see. Steve Kerr, right? So, they weren't necessarily interchangeable, or I don't want to say interchangeable, but they weren't the same as the Celtics in the sense that when they were playing, on offense, they were smooth and work the pass. When they were on defense, they would switch things up and were anchored down low so that teams could not just get an easy two on them because they'd have to go through the twin towers of Parrish and McHale. And so, with that, I feel that is, not enough evidence, but evidence enough, if you will.
Yeah. Well,
to say that team was, superior to the Bulls in terms of being that team unit.
Mm-hmm. I also wonder too, like, because we have to figure in the second banana factor here, because obviously Jordan and Bird, the obvious big dogs of both of their teams, like. And when we talked about, like, the Celtics offense kind of ran through Bird, and he was kind of a point forward sort of situation. Same thing with Jordan. Like, even though it's a triangle offense and you're looking to set that up and it all flows through Jordan. Like, ultimately that is the guy who is facilitating, who can get his own shot, who can all those things. And kind of the same with Bird, just in a very different way, not in the same athletic way.
Yeah.
However, it also, Jordan didn't win a championship until he had Pippen. And you can make a very valid argument that even though Bird won in 81 before they had, I can't remember, I think did they have Parrish then, or they didn't have McHale then, I don't think.
In 81?
Yeah.
No, I don't think they did.
But they were still there was still remnants of, like, kind of the 70s. You had Cedric Maxwell, you had those cats. But I think you look at this mid 80s run would not have happened if you don't have Parrish, McHale. And I think specifically McHale, because I think McHale is definitely the Pippen to Bird's Jordan in this case.
Cedric Maxwell was playing with Parrish.
Okay.
There was no McHale. It was Cedric Maxwell.
Yeah.
So it was Parrish, Maxwell, Bird, Chris Ford, and Nate Tiny Archibald.
Chris Ford and the like, that dude's hairline was further back than yours is, and he was probably like in his 30s at that point. Oh, and Tiny Archibald. I remember because Bill Fitch was the coach in 81, and someone had asked, like, who's the best left-handed player on the Celtics, and Archibald was the only lefty, and Bill Fitch was like, Bird.
Yep.
And Tiny Archibald was like, dude, I'm the only lefty. He's like, yeah, but Bird's still better left-handed than any of it. It's like,
yep.
Son of a bitch, you're right. But I think that you look at McHale and you look at Pippen, and Pippen did have a chance to be the guy when Jordan retired.
Yes.
And it didn't really, I mean, they were respectable, but I don't think I almost wonder if McHale could have been a franchise player on his own. Or if it would have, I mean, because he did have moments of greatness. I mean, obviously, back in, I looked it up, Kevin McHale set the record for a single game record for Celtics scoring back in March 3rd, 1985. Led the Celtics to a 138-129 victory over the Detroit Pistons. He shot 22 of 28 from the field, 16 rebounds, 3 blocks in 41 minutes. He set the single game scoring record. Bird had held the record before that. It was 53. Bird basically encouraged McHale to stay in the game, and McHale left. He was like, you should go for 60. And McHale's like, no. He's like, well, I'm going to go for 60. And it was like I forget how long it goes. 9 days later, on March 12th, 1985, Bird dropped 60 to reclaim the franchise scoring record. Nice. But McHale could score. Like, he was an offensive force. And in this case, like, he didn't always need to have that because Bird could supply a ton of offense. But by himself, like, McHale was a friggin' problem. Like, the dude had moves. He had those long ass friggin' gorilla like arms. Like, it was the type of thing where if he's shooting a hook shot, like, who's blocking him? You know, like, how do you deal with this guy? And as a second banana, like, that's kind of another area where I'm like, I kind of think McHale gives him an advantage there, because Pippen, I don't think is, you know, where Pippen can take on Bird, like Rodman going up against McHale, like, it's a fair matchup because Rodman's only caring about rebounds and defense, but then you've got a scoring deficit because McHale's definitely going to score more than Rodman. So it's, again, another one of those, like, that's a point in their favor, I think. Now, again, of course, Jordan, which is kind of the trump card. No matter how we figure this thing, you keep on coming back. Well, but there's Jordan. Another thing we have not really mentioned, Bill Walton, one of the greatest passing big men ever, coming off the bench and able to provide offense, able to move the ball. You know, one of the most deadly pick and rolls in friggin' history. Like, with
I was able to procure the ball and loft it up into the air through the hoop.
With like 2 lungfuls of weed smoke from the Grateful Dead.
The guru, ladies and gentlemen, Bill Walton. I can't do the proper. I can't do the enunciation the way he does. He was so not evocative. What's the word?
He was very
avuncular.
Yes.
Avuncular, I think, is the word. Just he overpronounced words, but yet it made him. You know, like, that is what made Walton, and he was the guru.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what that was the kind of the piece that kind of took them over the top, because they had this core, I think, from 85, and then you get Walton for 86. It's like, holy crap, now what do you do? You had problems before, and now it's like you have the best, front court, and you can bring in Walton. There's no drop off. Like, sub him in for whoever, and it's like, okay, I guess we'll just make do with one of the most dynamic big men who's ever played the game, who's only, been short circuited by the fact that, like, physically his feet just couldn't hold together to play a full-time role, but we're not asking him to do that. Holy crap. Talk about, like, an embarrassment of riches. Of course, now I think the thing that we have to get into here, because we talk about 87 kind of being that year for the Celtics where you still have the core, you have this essentially like the 86 team returning intact, because I'm almost 100% certain Walton came back, but he had injuries. McHale had injuries. Bird was, beginning to break down here. They managed to make it to the finals, but they could not conquer the Lakers. The big factor here is that in 1986, at the end of winning a championship, the Celtics had the second pick in the freaking draft after winning the championship, and winning the championship with, like, what was it again? I'm sorry, a 67-15 record. And they have the number 2 pick. And that
Red Auerbach is a diabolical genius.
That number 2 pick was Len Bias, and thus the dark clouds roll in. And what would that 87 team have been, even with a rookie Len Bias? A rookie Len Bias, who people had said athletically, like, the only comp for him in recent memory there was Jordan. Now, reading a little bit more, and I didn't watch him at Maryland and all that stuff. People were saying, oh, well, he wasn't really Jordan. He was bigger, but he wasn't as athletic as Jordan, but he was there was no other comp for him. And they're like, well, probably the closest thing would be more James Worthy. It's like, well, gee, golly shucks, what a downturn that is, that you're James frickin' Worthy. Imagine having, like, young James Worthy, let's just go with that, being able to sub into this lineup when McHale's getting hurt, to take time off of Bird, even if he's a dumb rookie, which is like every rookie is kind of a dumb rookie, getting their feet under them, trying to figure out how to play a season that is now twice as long as a college season. But imagine just that sheer athleticism, being able to be somewhat part of this. That changes the complexion of that team completely. Maybe you don't have some of those injuries because you don't have to play some of these older players as much. Maybe you don't maybe this spaces things out for Bird. Maybe when you can actually afford to sit McHale and put Bias in and get McHale time to rest so that you can bring him back, instead of him playing on one foot for most of the season because they thought they had a chance to win the championship. And this is prescient because last week was the 40th anniversary of Len Bias dying 2 days after being selected second overall in the NBA by the Celtics. This is Red Auerbach's swan song. This is his last great swindle in a career filled with them. Oh my gosh. Red pulled the wool over everybody's eyes at one time or another, all the way going back to getting Bill Russell on a team that was already stacked, and getting a guy who, would then take them to winning 11 championships in 13 years, and become the greatest winner in the history of sports, essentially. And what I love here is that Red Auerbach traded Gerald Henderson and basically a deflated basketball to Seattle for their first round pick in '86. That means they got the second overall pick after winning the championship. After his death, the Celtics received no compensation. And then this would be followed up a few years later by Reggie Lewis's death, where Boston would be forced to carry the rest of Reggie's contract under the salary cap. Because at that point, the NBA basically had enough of the Celtics and Red Auerbach and were like, F these guys in particular. So if you kind of wonder what happened to the Celtics in the 90s and into the early 2000s, this is kind of it. Oh, and Rick Pitino. So yeah, Len Bias, Reggie Lewis, and then Rick Pitino. And that, in a way, it's kind of amazing that the Celtics are kind of back at all.
Yeah.
That's enough to put most teams down for 50 years.
So one thing on Bias that I have in my hard work and research that I put in, that many scouts believed Bias was the best athlete in college basketball at that time, that he could score from anywhere, and he was one of the few players physically comparable to Jordan. So I know you mentioned they compared him to Worthy.
Well,
but,
he was comparable to Jordan, but then in I'm sorry, I don't know what the heck I just got sent here. He was comp to Jordan at the time, and then in retrospect, I had read kind of an article where they really got into the nitty gritty stat nerd stuff, and they're like, he really wasn't Jordan, but he would comp out much more closely to or he might have specced out better to a James Worthy. Which again is oh, golly gee shucks. Yeah. James Worthy, what a letdown.
Said he had superstar potential.
Yes.
Superstar potential. And then to your point with Bias, and we kind of touched on this, after 86, we get into 87, age starts creeping up on the Celtics. You got Bird, who in 86, Bird's 29, McHale's 28, Parrish is 32, Johnson is 31. McHale was 20. McHale looked like he was constantly late 30s. The guy just did not look like he did not look like he was in his late 20s. My God.
No. He was one of those guys who he was kind of like a golden retriever. And this happens for a lot of people. They hit a certain age and then they stay that age for about 25, 30 years. And then when they age, it all kind of happens at once. And then they kind of plateau again. And it's okay, I mean, I guess that's one way to go. But yeah, McHale looked like he was probably in his late 30s for 15 years. It was kind of crazy. You're like, I don't know where I have you show a picture of McHale and you're like, I can't tell what year it is unless you show me a full body shot so I can see the length of the shorts. That's the only hint you have. Short shorts, okay, we're in the 80s. Longer shorts, oh, we're hitting the 90s. Oh my god.
So Bias was representing the bridge to the next era.
Yes.
And to your point, imagine the Celtics adding a top 2 draft pick and NBA ready with an NBA ready athleticism, elite scoring potential to a 67 win championship team. That almost never happens because Red Auerbach is a diabolical genius.
Yeah.
So
one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah. And so the impact, as you mentioned, of Bias's death, that there was no successor to Bird because Bird's body began breaking down between 88 and 90. chronic back problems, declining mobility, shortened career. And so Bias was expected to assume more offensive responsibility. There was increased wear on Bird. And this is, in my research, what is declared as one of the great what ifs. Would Bird have lasted longer if Bias had absorbed minutes and scoring load? Now, we don't know, but it's an interesting question, because if he did and they were able to rest Bird a bit more, would they have gotten more, would he have been able to elongate his career?
I think the answer there is no, mostly because I remember seeing an interview with Bird where he said that he would have retired sooner had Len Bias not died.
Okay.
He would have stayed for a couple of years, and then he would have retired much sooner, knowing that the team was in good hands.
Interesting. Okay.
But because that happened, I think he stuck around and stuck it out of obligation for the team.
Yeah.
Because Bird was that kind of guy, a guy who hates losing and doesn't want the job to be undone. I mean, and cheap is all get out, because this is the root of the friggin' problem here. Like, his back problem started when he decided to redo his driveway himself rather than pay someone else to do it. That's when he screwed up his back, or the beginning of his back problems. And it's like, son of a bitch, hire a paving company, Larry. But yeah, it is. And it's funny when they mention, like, Len Bias being one of the greatest sports what if. I always thought one of the great what ifs was Bo Jackson. What if Bo hadn't messed up his hip? But really, Len Bias is like an absolute blank canvas as a professional. Like, you can extrapolate whatever from him. And I think also because there's not footage readily available of him as a college. Like, there's footage, but it's not like you can go back now and you could watch, any game that he ever played, like, because everything is on YouTube these days or is digitized somewhere. Like, a lot of those games weren't played on national TV, and a lot of them tapes are lost or just thrown out or whatever. So it's like, there's a big what if, and it's almost one of those things where it's grown into this mythical status of Len Bias could jump over 10 Volkswagens and single bound and whatever. It's like, you could say that, and it's like, well, there's not physical evidence that he couldn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's oh my gosh, it was that was a horrible thing, and like oh my gosh, the best, like, kids don't do drugs commercial you could possibly ask for. I mean, dude snorts coke and is dead, and you're like, okay, he's an extreme physical specimen. Like, what shot do I have? Oh, hell no. Like, to this day, I don't even get near talcum powder because I'm scared. It was like, it could take me out. Yeah, that changes the complexion of, like, what this team could have been. Like, if Len Bias is there, even as a rookie who's still getting his feet under him, holy hell, could this team already was in the finals. An uber athlete like Len Bias in those finals too. I don't know. We're talking about maybe a third championship with this team, and a fourth championship for the Celtics in the 80s. And we have a totally different conversation going here.
We do,
and it's freaking terrible. It's sad on many, many levels. But
yeah.
So yeah, during our conversation here, sir, have you changed your mind at all?
No, I think if anything, it has solidified my view. And yes, I can be blamed for Boston bias, and yes, I can be blamed for being an old fuddy-duddy, holding on to my childhood years of memories of the Celtics, Lakers, back and forth. But like I said, I both as a kid, as a teen, as an adult, I've just always enjoyed watching teams that function as a unit. And, my wife was watching the Chicago Sky play the other day, and I saw, they were just kind of shooting threes from the perimeter, and I just made a crack, like, because I don't know how the current Bulls team is doing right now, but when I was watching the Bulls more, that's all they did was shoot from the perimeter, just shoot from the 3-point line. And I'm just like, man, it's like you want to see teams, try to drive the hoop, and try to put some pressure on the defense and work the ball. And it was just it was a great era to see a team, like the Celtics, like the Lakers of that era play, where it was about finesse, it was artistry, it was guys who clearly had mastered their craft because they had put in the 10,000 plus hours to get to that level. And so I very much enjoy that. I mean, I think the Bulls run, was, it's one for the record books. You can't deny it. But I also, feel that, like I said, when we got into a little bit on Rodman, I just feel like there was a little run of luck for them. And I saw it. She got you.
She did.
All I saw was I looked up at you and I see this pink sort of bow thing behind. I'm like, oh,
you didn't think I was wearing the pink bow?
I thought you might have.
I thought you might have. I'm
fashionable.
fashionable. I could pull that. I could totally pull that off. I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have a good skincare routine. I mean, look at me.
Man, she's ever since you moved to that room, she has got you.
She is like 2 for 3, really.
Yes.
2 for 3 after being 0 for downstairs. 2 for 3 now. What? Scaring me. Good on you. All right. Any closing? Do you have any thoughts on whether or not the 84 through 87 Celtics were a better team than the 95 through 99 Chicago Bulls?
Yes.
And what are those thoughts? You think the Celtics were better than the Bulls?
Where's the Bulls from?
Chicago.
Chicago. Are the Celtics from
Boston.
Okay. I'm saying Boston just because
There we go. That settles it.
Yes, sir.
Settles it.
I don't know anything about it, but I'll just say Boston.
That's
Wicked.
You know what? That's all we're looking for. You heading to bed? Or are you going to finish your pizza? What are you up to? All right.
I'm gonna finish pizza in my sleep, actually.
This one right here had a rough night running the expo, running food, doing the work.
Yep.
No, don't start that. You got a double tomorrow. So
is it a double or a double?
Double. Oh my gosh! Stop it with you. All right, you need to get some rest. All right. Good night. Love you. Thank you for coming out. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness, wait, what's the time?
The inhale there was like,
what happened?
It is 9:53 p.m.
No.
What's up?
No. I
What?
really hope I didn't miss the sale.
What sale?
Steam is having a sale on both the Jedi Survivor and Jedi Final Order or something. But Jedi
Didn't you
Survivor
know?
Sale, and it's $63 regularly, but it's $4 for this sale, so I need to
Okay, go get to it then.
Okay, good night.
Love you. Good night. Oh.
Does she have a console to play that on? Where's she playing that?
I have no idea, but Marco is now in the room, so this ought to be interesting.
Oh, okay. Can I see Marco? I don't think I've actually seen him up close.
Hang on a second. I'll get it for you.
Ah, there he is.
He's a big
I got to
boy.
say, that cat's face was a face of happiness to be held by you in that manner. He's just like,
he hates it. He's getting better though. Like he used to grumble a lot. Now he just kind of tolerates. Like, fine, okay, pick me up, give me kisses. Now put me down. Just 16 pounds of like whatever.
Yeah. He just had a look on his face like, what the heck is this? And why am I staring at this guy?
Yeah. He is weird, but I love him.
He is.
All right. As for me, like I still feel very confident in my contention that that the Celtics over Bulls on a team basis. And I think what it comes down to is, there is the Jordan factor, but you also have to factor in the Bird factor because you can't and I get it. Jordan was just the guy. He's the GOAT, all of that. I've said it several times. However, man, Bird did not play against a bunch of schlubs in his career. Like, he played against Magic. He played against Worthy, played against Dr. J, played against Barkley. I mean, however many more you want to throw in there, it's not like he played against just scrubs. He played against some big names, and you have to give credit for that. It's this thing that I've always said is like, Bill Russell is, I mean, I think he was 6'9", maybe 6'10", as a center. So, I mean, you put him in a game now and you're like, oh, well, he couldn't compete. And this is how I was like, well, I mean, no. My first instinct is to say no. But prime Bill Russell also went up against prime Wilt Chamberlain. Like, a guy who people were offering a contract to when he was 50 and retired for over a decade. Like, one of the most physically dominant players to ever play any sport. And Russell went one-on-one with him and kind of won a lot. I mean, you gotta take that into consideration. So, I mean, I guess I still feel really good about it. I still feel there is a bit, I will give Jordan the edge, and like, there is that thing of like, well, it's Jordan. So there is that seam of terror as a fan. If I were to actually, if you could put this together, I would not be feeling relaxed at all in a 7-game series between these two teams. I'd be chain drinking, nervous eating. I would be probably in need of like hospitalization afterwards. But damn, would that be a hell of a series? Can you even friggin' imagine? Oh,
the 86 Celtics versus the 96 Bulls. Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing. Let's see. I'm looking. The Bulls.
Someone must have simulated that, right?
Well, I just put in who would win a 7-game series between the 86 Celtics and 96 Bulls. The Bulls would likely win a grueling back-and-forth series in 7 games due to their unmatched perimeter defense and transition speed. The ultimate matchup would come down to distinct stylistic advantages and disadvantages for both squads. Without reading all of them, why the 96 Bulls would win: unmatched wing defense, versatile death lineup, and transition scoring.
But what rules are we playing?
Why the Boston Celtics?
Are we playing 80s rules? That to me, that's what it comes down to.
It does not say. It does not say.
All right, I interrupted you though. But
the 86 Celtics could win based on front court dominance, the bench edge, superior playmaking. And actually it says, if you like, let me know which specific era's rules you'd apply. The 86 physicality or the 96 freedom of movement. And how you think Dennis Johnson would fare matching up against Michael Jordan. So,
because the other part of that too
is interesting.
Like, if you can't touch Bird, that becomes a feast for him, because then it's like, oh, you mean I don't even have to get my hands dirty? I can just sit back here and shoot all I want.
Yep.
And nobody can touch me. I can dribble in and like that's a absolute playground for him. You know? What was the story when they talked about, it was John Sally, I think, was talking about how, they put John Sally a one-on-one with Bird and to come out, for the tip off. And he's like, hey John, you who else got me? It's like, no man, I'm on you. It's like, you got anyone else? It's like, no man, I got size on you. And Bird's like, mouse in the house. like, oh, just feed me the ball. I'm gonna tear this guy up. Yeah, I feel good about it, but yeah, it is just, dear God, like, if Jordan just goes off, if he has a transcendent series of games, but also Bird. What if Bird hits that stride? So who knows? Yeah. An intriguing exercise, an
interesting what if. But I think our unpopular opinion, especially for those who live around where I live,
well, yeah.
I mean, if you ask yourself who had the better dynasty, I think the Bulls win hands down, because the Celtics, while they won 2 championships, they had 5 opportunities and they lost 3 of them. So, they had
4 opportunities.
Well, yeah, we did a 3-year period, so they won 2 of 3. But the Bulls, we're only looking at we're looking at the second of 2 three-peats, which not a lot of teams can claim, and they did it in the same basic period with some of the same cast of characters. So
True.
that is something to consider as well. But like I said, I'm going to be biased. I'm going to admit the bias. I'm going to 100% say I am a Homer Simpson and just own it and say the Celtics are the better team. And if that's an unpopular opinion, tough luck.
Well, strong words.
That's the final word.
All right. So what do we have for recommendations for our viewers and listeners? What's your and another thing, sir? I'm waiting to hear you pronounce this.
All right. So over the weekend on Instagram, somehow this ends up in my Reels feed or something. It's from 1973. Adriano Celentano with his masterpiece. What's that?
What a damn great name.
It is a great name. With his masterpiece. Are you ready for this?
Yes, please.
Prisenkollen Sinascurol.
I can't argue with you on that, even though I took Italian. Like, maybe, maybe not.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a link to this in the show notes. First of all, let's talk about the song, and then secondly, we'll talk about the YouTube link that is going to be included. Because for goodness sakes, this is like everything about the 70s wrapped into one video clip.
Yeah.
This song was basically so Adriano Celentano was an Italian singer. I mean, he's still alive, but no longer an active entertainer. But he apparently created this song out of a sense of basically to try to. I'm trying to think of the way it was put. He basically crafted a song together of complete gibberish, but it was engineered to sound like English.
Yes.
And so as you listen to it, you think he's singing English words, but he's not. It's literally just gibberish that he just came up with. And in the way he sounds when he sings it, he sounds a lot like Bob Dylan. You know what I mean? Like there's a Dylan-esque quality to it where he's kind of hanging on, he's kind of hanging on to some of his end syllables of some of the, I mean, I'm not saying he's a ripoff of him. I'm just saying there's an element of that there.
Well, to me, and just a little counterpoint, he sounds a little bit more Clark Terry / Sid Caesar. So Sid Caesar was a master of the double talk, where basically he would take a different language like German or French or Italian or whatever, and he could listen to it, and then he could basically talk gibberish.
Yeah.
But he would kind of latch on to like the phrasing and the accents and the musicality of the language, and could kind of talk in a way, because he would be thinking in English and then kind of speaking this gibberish, but it made sense, which is kind of what Clark Terry would do when he would do his version of scatting, which was called mumbles, and he'd be like, and I can't do it for crap, but he would.
Yeah.
After a while, you're like, I think I actually understand what the hell he's saying. And it's like, did I take some medication that I wasn't supposed to take? Because this really should not be a thing, because he's mumbling gibberish, but it's not. Yeah. And it's that same sort of thing. So I get with the Dylan thing, but to me, it's a little bit more of that, like, just knowing the musicality of that particular language and then going, oh, okay, I can ape that to make sound like this. But anyways, that's. Just want to add that in.
So that's the song, and so it became actually a #1 hit in Europe, and it was kind of an ode, like he said it was kind of an ode he was doing to English songs. It's like, this is what Europeans hear when they hear English songs. Like, they don't understand the words, but they like the rhythm, they like kind of the feel, the melody, the tone, the attitude, the aspect of it all. And so that was kind of where this song came from.
She's back.
She got you twice.
Was the sale still on or no?
Yes, it was. I'm very happy with myself.
Oh, good. Now, is this games?
Yeah.
So now Happy's here. We have visits from both cats.
They're Star Wars games. It's Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor, and they're like the two biggest Star Wars games because they're the most updated. They have really good animation.
So what is she playing it on?
What are you playing it on?
I have my computer for now. Maybe if I have a PC one day, maybe I'll be able to play it on.
What'd she say?
She's playing it on her MacBook.
Oh, they might have a Mac version of it. Okay. It's
how
possible.
How long is this sale? Because I might have to do that.
I think it's for the rest of tonight. It's still going on right now. That's all I know. I can't promise that it'll be there tomorrow, but I definitely know it's still happening tonight.
All right,
But yeah,
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Games themselves, Jedi Survivor is $70 normally.
Thing's friggin' spring loaded.
But yeah, no, Jedi Survivor is normally $70, and Jedi Fallen Order is normally $40. So I got those two games that normally would have been $110 together. I got for like $19.
Nice. What a deal.
That's a bargain right there, bub.
It is.
I think you should get it while the sale's still on. It's $20. $20 at most. Put to good use.
You can put an Andrew Jackson down. Come on.
Listen, calm down there, Spanky. You don't know what I can put down or not. You're the one who thought that Bird could defend Jordan one-on-one.
I did not. You added the one-on-one. Stop it.
You just sit this one out, champ.
Nope, not at all.
Maybe
put down the 20. Come on, you can do it. You can do it.
Just disregard him. I will look into it after I finish recording with this jabroni. All right. You going to bed now? Or, well, actually, you're probably finishing your pizza, aren't you? Okay. All right. Good night. It's 10:07 here p.m.
And you're watching Perspectives.
Thank you very much. Love you. Good night.
Is it possible to pick up Happy so I can see how happy he really is?
No, I think he already left.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't realize. I forgot that all the springs on this thing are weighted, and as soon as I take the mic out, it's like ping. I'm like, I'm like razzling this thing.
You got to cinch the headlock in.
Put it in an abdominal stretch.
Oh my gosh!
All right. Anyways, you were in the middle of your in another.
Yes.
Thing.
So there's the song, and as I mentioned, it's kind of an ode to what he felt Europeans kind of experienced with, with American music at the time. Well, the link we have, which is a link to a YouTube video, which again, this is all in Italian. I haven't looked up what it all means, but I assume this is a performance that was done and some sort of variety show that is televised. Yes. And so it starts out with him kind of being a teacher, teaching the kids, I guess, language of some kind, which is his gibberish he's come up with.
Yeah.
And it goes into the song, and it is literally about as 70s as you can get with this, between the costumes, the setup, there's an audience sitting behind. So this is very weird because it's not like a normal variety show where you're just, cameras on the stage and you're just seeing the players and the performers and that's it. Like, you see the audience behind them. The part that cracks me up is if you actually watch this and watch the crowd, you can see some people just start cracking up over this thing. Like, clearly something is tickling their fancy and they're starting to laugh and cover their face or their mouth or whatever. They're trying to compose themselves. I don't know where to go. This is a little bit of insanity is what this is. So he pretends to be this teacher teaching the class something. The class happens to be all women. And when the music starts, they start to all in tandem kind of like, groove with the music. And then he starts singing. And when he sings, he starts doing this like weird hip back and forth gyration thing. And it's just this very uncomfortable, like, guy who's dancing in front of the ladies trying to like,
you're a teacher, for God's sakes, man.
I know it's weird. Yeah, it's so weird. And so, not to mention at the very end, they kind of do this like conga line out. It's very strange. Just watching this, like, when does the insanity end? It's like not, it's bad enough. It's a complete, farce of a song with all the gibberish and everything. But then you got to add the hip wiggle and the dance, and it's just like, oh my God. So anyways, if you're looking to, get a little taste of the 70s and see something that's a little bit over the top and a little bit like good God, what were they smoking back then? What drugs were going on around there?
What weren't they smoking, sir?
I know. Well, do check out. It is Adriano Celentano, and I will try this again. Prisen Colin Ninsinia Kuswal from 1973.
Sure. Let's go with that.
And what is your end another thing, sir?
Well, and one more addendum
yes.
to that, and this will... I can't remember how many weeks we have until we're going to dive into this, but this has a little bit of a tie-in to one of our future episodes.
Okay.
Because this song played a prominent part in one of the Ted Lasso episodes that we'll be talking about.
What?
I believe it was in season 3 during the Zava winning streak. This was the soundtrack.
Oh, interesting.
And the thing is, like, legit, it's a catchy tune. Like, it's got a good groove to it. Like,
it does. It does. You kind of get into it, and it's very mesmerizing watching this video. The way, the choreography that's going on here is very well done because it's very much in rhythm to the song. Everyone you see on camera, I wouldn't say they're in perfect, coordination or synchronization, but they're pretty damn close. And everything just kind of comes together with the rhythm of the song has this kind of driving drum beat to it where and everyone's kind of grooving to it. And so it's one of those oddities that you start watching and you can't look away. You know what I mean? It's I cannot watch, but I cannot look away.
Yes.
But so what is your end another thing, so?
My end another thing has a little tie-in to our show here, because this is a band from your neck of the woods. This is Chi-Town's own Hot Like Mars.
Very nice.
Which is a really cool kind of little, like a funk R&B kind of outfit. If my memory serves correct, we've got a 5-piece. We've got 2 guitars, bass, drums, keyboards. Keyboard player is the lead singer. So kind of this mountain of keys is the centerpiece of the stage. And I'm going to recommend their Live from Brooklyn album, which is brand new this year. And this was, I believe, this is at Brooklyn Bowl in Brooklyn, New York, which I have actually had a chance to. I saw Tower of Power at Brooklyn Bowl, and it is a really cool venue because it's old school, man. It is basically like a stage and a big ass open floor, and then there is a bowling alley like on the other side of one wall. So if you're standing there watching the band, you can kind of look to your right and you see people bowling. It's the weirdest friggin' thing, but it is a great space to see a show at, and they have a lot of great acts that go through there. These guys are really cool. I caught on to them. I think I've actually had them as another thing before, if I'm remembering correctly. We should really track these things at some point. And by we, I mean me. This is kind of cool.
We should get our intern to track this stuff.
Oh, dear God, no, I can't. I'm not even. Let's not go there right now. Let's put it this way. There have been new developments, and I'm trying not to get into them because honestly, like, I don't want to incur more legal fees than I've already had to. But let's just suffice it to say that visa issues have come up, and that I had no idea that Patrick was in the United States illegally. And that is
Where
all
are you going with this?
I am. That is all I am able to say on advice of legal counsel. Some weird things have been afoot.
You accused me of saying something stupid tonight with the bird regarding Jordan thing. I believe you have now taken the crown on this one. Good God!
Like, hey, I am just a vessel for information. But anyways, Hot Like Mars. This is really cool because it gives you kind of a sampling of their songs. Their Every Day Above Ground leads us off, which is a great tune. And Don't Get Comfy is a great 1 and 2. Then we get into some more jammy stuff, and they are very much a jam band. Like there is not one song on this album is under 5 minutes, and everything else is hovering 5 to about 10 minutes. they're a band that does like to go off the beaten path with their songs, which is really cool. Two of the highlights on this album, they do a cover of All Along the Watchtower, which to my ears is kind of, it's much more of a homage to the Dave Matthews Band kind of take on All Along the Watchtower that they used a lot in the late 90s, early 2000s as kind of a closer for their show. They have a cover of Enter Sandman, which is friggin' phenomenal. It's diabolically good. And that alone is worth just listening to this album. But listen to the whole thing. Don't just listen to Enter Sandman first if you really want to.
Was this is this the band you sent me a link for like last week or something? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is also available on YouTube. Actually, you know what? I'm going to include the YouTube show. But you can find it. It's streaming on Apple Music. You can find it probably on Spotify and some other places too. I'll include the YouTube video because it is worthwhile just to be able to see these cats play. But yeah, if you want to watch Enter Sandman, go right ahead, jump to that, watch it, but then go back and listen to the entire thing because these guys are really good and deserve your attention. I am very disappointed. These guys were playing in Cambridge back in May. And I kind of caught on to them right before that. And I had a harebrained scheme of like how I was going to be able to make this show. And I just didn't. And now I'm kicking myself because I'm like, that would have been such a freaking great show. But anyways, don't be like me. Go see them if you can. And I believe they're, hang on a second. Hot Like Mars. Oh, there we go. And hey, guess what? Their website is hotlikemars.com. So there you go. And I'll link the video for their Brooklyn Bowl show. So you can listen to it and then also find it streaming and carry it with you wherever you like. And that's my another thing.
Very nice.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is it for this Free Range Idiocy Friday. This is, by the way, episode 301. Overall, I mean, we're on episode 252 of Free Range Idiocy, but overall, this is our 301st show.
It figures we did our Week in Geek episode and didn't once call out the fact it was episode 300, did we?
We didn't. We were too busy talking about you bestowing blessings on people for friggin' Father's Day, like you're the Chicago Pope or something. Yeah, exactly. We got. Look what they did to my boy. Look what they did to my boy. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. We do so appreciate it. Thank you for this. How you doing over there?
There we go. Finally got it down. Oh, my God.
Did you get your sinuses a little bit of a bubble clean?
A little bit. Clean it out from the rooter to the tutor.
Thank y'all for tuning in. We do so appreciate it. You can go to freerangeedc.com and find all of our episodes there audio-wise. You can subscribe to the Podbean app if you'd like. You can also find us on fine podcast purveyors everywhere, like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Amazon, and many, many others. Just search for Free Range Idiocy. If you'd like to find full video episodes, you can watch us in action. Dear God, I don't know why, but if you're that sadistic, you go right ahead and you go to youtube.com/@freerangeidiocy. That is our YouTube channel. You can subscribe there. You get your fresh shows every Wednesday, every Friday, without fail, except when we do fail. We're also on the social medias. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook. Both of those are @freerangeidiocy as well. You have any questions, thoughts, concerns, or offers of outright bribery? Or hey, if you want to send us a bottle of chicken cock, we wouldn't mind that either. Send those offers to tim@freerangeidiocy.com. Don't give me that look. As soon as you have the chicken cock, you will change your tune.
I'm just going to say, Uncle Todd.
Cockle-doodle-doo, mofo.
Is not one to turn away the bottle of cock, so.
Again, I always get so weirded out when you're the naughty one. It's so odd to me. But send those to tim@freerangeedc.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I turn the show over to the least idiotic member of this show. That, granted, there's only two of us to choose from, so it's not a high bar to clear, but he clears it like a gazelle jumping over a fallen log after a good fart. But not before I ask. That was a fart. There you go. Not before I ask the second most important question in all of human history. The first being, what is hip? The second being, what the high holy hell did we learn this episode, if anything?
We've learned the following.
Good to know.
We have learned that it is unequivocally the case that the Boston Celtics are the better team. The 84-87 Celtics better than the 95-99 Bulls. Unequivocally.
Dude, I am never playing you in Scrabble. You are like knocking it out of the park in terms of your vocab tonight. My goodness.
We've also learned the man they call Tim, do not doubt his knowledge of dates, times, periods of when things happen. He nailed, I forget what it was earlier, but it was
Garnett, and then you were a year off on Kobe.
Yeah, I was close enough. It was close enough. Come on now. Let's not get particular here.
Sir. Now, hang on a second. Can everybody?
Is this not my segment?
Can everybody else just kind of hang back for a second? Let me just talk one-on-one. Sir.
God, free.
just you and me here.
Could you back up a little?
Just you and me here.
Okay.
After saying that Larry Bird could guard Michael Jordan one-on-one.
You invented the one-on-one.
No, I didn't. It's
you
there
did.
On the tape. I think you just need to let this one go.
No.
Anyways, proceeds.
We have also learned that man they called him has a point. Bird could have guarded Jordan.
From Really?
You got me flustered.
How about Kevin McCullough? He was murdered down in the low post.
Yeah, I mean, for crying out loud, could you have leaned any more into that camera?
The Southie Church League back in 1988.
You know what? I can do it too. Hello!
Dear God. I think I just gave him a glaucoma check. You better go see your optometrist. I saw a little cloud in his. My goodness, sir. I saw into your soul. And you have a lot to be ashamed for.
Oh, my gosh. We've also learned that Uncle Todd takes his bourbon tips now from the man they call Tim, who sent him the picture of chicken cock from the restaurant that he dined at on Sunday, and discovered there's apparently a rye that they offer.
I had no idea.
It is delightful.
And
I gotta take these off.
I am appreciative because this is a fine bottle. I mean, a little side note here, and this I don't get paid for this at all. Like, this is not a cheap bourbon, but man, it is actually worth it. I will say that.
Is it worth it in the way that Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order is going to be worth it?
I don't know. I'll have to check that out. I might have to do one or two. We'll see.
We've also learned that Uncle Todd is good for putting an Andrew Jackson down to buy those games. So I'm curious to see what happens, if he's going to buy it and if he's going to, entertain us with tales from the video game realm.
Okay, I was wondering if you were going to land that sentence. There's a little doubtful there.
Well, I was thinking of something. We've also learned that Len Bias would have made on this the 40th anniversary of his passing. What could have been, and what the Celtics could have been. Sad, tragic, no doubt, and a lesson for all to consider. But nonetheless, what's it?
Drugs are bad, okay?
Well,
except for bourbon. That's
yeah. Bourbon, good. Drugs, not so good.
I just realized I'm saying that as I'm having bourbon. I'm like,
I was going to say, there's a little irony going on here.
There's a lot of irony.
Indeed. And then finally, the man they call Tim highly recommends you check out on Andriano Celentano's Prison Colon Oh my gosh. It is something to behold. You will be entertained, you will laugh, and you will wonder, what in God's green earth were they doing in the 70s? Because, man alive, this just doesn't make sense to me. Woo! Alrighty then. With all that being said, we thank you for your listenership on this, our 301st episode. That's right. We stay brand loyal. We didn't celebrate number 300, but we will celebrate 301 and more so 302 because that's just the way we roll. All that being said, thank you. And as we like to close things out here on the range, be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The range is closed for now. Uncle Todd's got some video games to play. See ya.
Mussolini!
It's like I picked the wrong week to quit drinking.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you. Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
So say we all.
So say we all.
Hey, if you're gonna get a little up close and personal, I'm gonna make it personal.
Mess myself there. Dear sweet baby Moses.
I'm confused as a baby raccoon.
Well, the thing is, I was trying to search for something, and then all of a sudden, next thing I know, you're like right there.
Well, now you know how I feel as you came close to the camera. God,
well, you know, there's so many comments I can make right now, and I'm not gonna. Yeah, maturity.
Now get the hell out of here!